we just learned about Jimmy Ward. What does that do as far as your approach for the rest of the week and for Sunday in particular?
It doesn't change much. T. Moore has been doing a great job at showed that he's earned the right to go out there and play. He's still got K'Wan Williams. Eman Mosley can play nickel. DJ Reed's still there along with Exum, so we're fine. It doesn't really change anything we're doing game plan wise.
Are you confident that K'Wan's going to be ready for this weekend?
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't have a whole lot of preseason work, but what did you see from him? You know, obviously, coming off this ACL, what stands out for Quan's game in your mind?
Quan Alexander?
Yeah.
Quan Alexander looks good. I know he's coming off that ACL, but he's really progressed throughout training camp. Big thing for Quan is to know that he's a superstar and he doesn't have to go to Tampa and show it. He already is, so he just needs to show up, play his best. Doesn't have to do anything special. So I'm excited for him to get this action, and I know he's excited, but he's got to understand that it's another game, another team. So.
How has Bosa looked this week?
Bosa's looked good so far. Obviously, we're monitoring his reps and all that stuff, so he's progressing. He feels good, and especially with these days leading up, are going to be critical for him with rehab and solidifying everything for game day.
He was saying the other day he's never tried as hard as he has to come back from anything as he did this working every waking hour. Did you see that?
Yeah, we all saw it. Relentless with the training staff, relentless with the strength crew. And it's very important to him, and you can't ask for much more than that from a man in general.
So. You're not quite certain if he'll be able to go on Sunday, Nick?
Nick?
Yeah.
He's going.
He's going.
He should be.
What would it be? How excited are you to have him and D. Ford on the field together with the rest of the defense for the first time?
You know, it's if we can get to Sunday, everyone playing, it's you know, there's a little bit of an unknown. It is exciting because we know what it looks like when the four guys up front are humming, and I think the whole league knows what it looks like in the system when the four guys up front are humming, and if it's anything like we think it's going to be pretty cool. So, but it doesn't really matter until we get out in the field, and again, it comes down to them executing their techniques and operating, because it's not just something that they can do and show up. Tampa's got a really good team. They're a top 5 offense last year. They got a really good scheme with Bruce. So it's not like we can just show up to the stadium. They still have to have that mindset. They still have to play with technique, and they still have to play with the fundamentals that we talk about.
Is D. Ford a 3-down player, particularly this week, coming off the treatment on his knee?
We'll see. We're working through that this week. So when it comes to all that stuff, the performance staff is still working through the week along with Nick to make sure that they are ready. So everything looks promising, but until we get that final stamp, I'll defer that one to Coach.
If there's a critique of his game, I guess it would probably be his work against the run. I mean, would just given the other players you have at defensive end who could play the run pretty well, would it be more advantageous maybe to keep Ford fresh, second and third down situations? Always.
The versatility of our defense up front, the whole design of it is so you can get big guys to play big downs when you got 12, 13 personnel in there, and when they get their speed group out there, we can get faster. So that D-line is very versatile. Ronnie, Julian Taylor, Sheldon, Solomon, the whole front, go through all of them. But there's good versatility where a lot of guys can go inside and out, and being able to mix and match guys so that way we could keep all of them fresh, not just D. Ford, not just Buck, not just Bosa, but all of them, keeping them fresh so we can keep coming at them. And because it is it's a grueling game, the type of style that Bruce and his staff play with their run game and the way they just lean on you. And so it's going to be imperative for us as coaching staff to make sure that our guys are fresh throughout the game.
When you go into a game where it's going to be 95 degrees, potentially kickoff, how do you communicate the constant rotations that you're going to have on that defensive line?
That's what we're working through now. Kasarik is, to me, one of the best in the business in terms of getting all that stuff done. He has a really good feel for his D-line and what each one's strengths are, so he's been training them all year and all off season, OTAs and training camp, to throw 4 guys out there and they can play all 4 spots. So feel very confident about our ability to roll guys to make sure they stay fresh.
It seems complicated where you might want one call with these 4 guys out there and a different call potentially with another 4 guys. Is that part of your thought process too?
It could happen, but they're all taught. It doesn't matter what I call; they all have to execute. And so they've done a great job working their tails off in that room, where it doesn't matter what I call; they can all still execute exactly the same. So, really excited about that group, and very confident that we'll be able to accomplish what we're trying to get done with rotations.
So much talk about D's first step since he's been here. Everybody's talked about it. What goes into it besides just seeing the ball or seeing the linemen and hearing the cadence?
Mama and Papa, I guess you could say, some good DNA and genes. But he's got tremendous get off. He is very attentive to the whole get off part, the ball movement, just anything that he can find, he'll trigger off of, and he's very consistent with it. It's when he gets off, that first step is so fast. Tackles are just, they have to pay attention to it. They have to honor it. But what makes his game really good is that he has that speed, which has tackles backing out anyway. But one of the most underrated things he does is he can put he can turn it right into your chest and turn into a bull rush in a heartbeat, and he has a lot of power to him. So a speed rusher is only as good as his bull rush, and he has a very, very underrated bull rush. So I'm excited for him to get out and go to work. So I know he's chomping at the bit. So
Where do things stand with Jason Verrett?
Jason's working through. Again, that goes back to the performance staff. He's been in practice. He's looked good, and I know he wants to get back bad. So he's going in the right direction and working with the performance staff and those guys to get ready.
With him, do you need to see maybe a couple weeks of practicing at a high level just to know that he's healthy before you could stick him in game action?
It's no different than anyone else. He was, right before he got hurt in training camp, he was starting to take a step where it was like, okay, you could see the elite movement skills, you can see it all, and then it was unfortunate what happened to him in practice. But Jason knows. In practice, you can see his movement. He's very, very close, and he'll tell you he's close. And it's just a matter of getting in there and working with the performance staff. But when he's ready to go, I don't think anyone, even you guys will all notice it. So.
He's solely on the outside, or do you move him inside?
Verrett, right now he's just outside.
With Jason, his injury history obviously would be a red flag for any team. What convinced you that he was worth taking a chance on?
You know what? I think it was a combination of both. I think Jason took a chance on us just as much as we took a chance on him. If you want to say that, I do believe that a guy of his skill set, his mindset. I think one of the things that no one ever talks about with Jason is his leadership skills, his character, and his mindset. But I think whenever you go into those things, it's a relationship between the player and the organization. He's taking a chance on us as much as we are with him, and I feel like from an organization standpoint, doing everything we can to help him get back to what he was. I think that there's a very important role that the organization plays in that. So it's not just all on Jason or on us taking a chance on him, but the relationship goes back and forth. And so feel good about where it's at. Now it's just a matter of him getting right so he can go play. Because when he's right, he's special, as everyone knows.
Have you seen glimpses on the practice field of the Pro Bowl version of
I'm telling you, right before he got hurt, he showed a couple of plays where God, he was close. Like, it was really, really close. And so now it's, like I said, he's getting closer again. He's just got to continue to work through it.
What challenges do a Todd Bowles defense, present an opposing offense, and what kind of advice do you give Kyle in preparing for his schemes?
Todd's defense is a little bit different than ours. Obviously, they're much more pressure based. Kyle's game planned enough on him, so I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I ever give Kyle any advice. He's pretty good at what he does. I don't know if he needs my 2 cents. So
you alluded to the style of Bruce Arians' offense. How would you describe it? What makes it unique, and what are the hallmarks of his scheme?
His scheme, he is. They're very deliberate in terms of, especially with the run game. They're very committed to the run game. I mean, there's games where they'll have 40 carries for 100 yards, but it's 3 yards, it's 3 yards, it's 3 yards, and boom for 10, and then 3 yards. And they don't care because the philosophy, they're going to keep leaning on you. They're going to double team you. They're going to wear you out. And so you know, you're going to go into this game. It's a dogfight, a very underrated dogfight, because you see just one back. It doesn't look like anything special, but it is a very grueling game, their style. And you got to have your mind right. It's going to be physical, and you got to be ready to fit in a run, no matter how many times you feel like you've done it, and how many times you think it just keeps coming. And so discipline is a major key, and getting ready for a dogfight is the
Did you
big
hear
thing.
that from Pittsburgh? Is that sort of
This is all, you know, I think so. I mean, Pittsburgh, you saw it some with Indianapolis when he was there, Arizona, obviously. It's a very specific system. You can see they have a system, and it's very, very good. It's a training system, so.
Just to clarify, you're proceeding as if Jimmy Ward won't be playing. I mean, is there a chance he can play Sunday?
I haven't gotten full word yet. I'm still waiting for performance staff, and again, that'll be something for coach.
Had he?
Couple more guys.
It seemed like he had a pretty firm grasp on the starting free safety spot, but had he shown you enough to be the top player in the slot too, with Tavares playing free safety?
Talking about Jimmy Ward?
Yeah.
Jimmy, I stand by it. I do believe if Jimmy can get through a 16-game season, I think the whole world will see how good he is. He's a very special talent, but so he can play corner, he can play nickel, he can play free safety, he can do all of it. And so him playing nickel would not have been an issue. Him playing free safety, we're, knock on wood, we have some versatility where we got Tavares more, where if K'Wan Williams needed a break, we can shuffle guys around. But with Jimmy, him being able to play free, him playing nickel, him playing corner, he can do all of it. And it's just a matter of getting him into one spot so he can go execute. So.
How disappointing is that to see a player like Jimmy, who you have all this confidence in, and his body not be able to hold up for that 16-game season like you want him to?
It's not disappointing from our standpoint. I'm more hurt for him because I know how hard he works. I know what he puts in, and I know how important it is for him and his family. And so I don't feel bad for me at all. I've always said it. The NFL train stops for nobody. It's just going to keep on rolling. But I do feel terrible for the people who are left behind when the train is moving, because I know how hard they work. I know how important it is. And so for Jimmy to just get better and trust that something good's about to happen, to keep his spirit up so he's a great football player. You just got to get to the football field.
Seems like it's always a bone that breaks with him. Is there anything? Is it a milk issue? Is there anything he can do? I mean,
you know, our performance staff, they do all these tests. He comes out above average and everything. I mean, it's been bad luck. I know you're like, well, history repeats itself or whatever. The stuff that happens to him is bad luck. It really is bad luck. So something good's going to happen to him. He's a good man, so it's got to.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.